Welcome back to Real Estate Masters on TV 25. I'm David Johnson, my co-host Dr. Kanika Bryant. Today we're on location in Kansas City's Northland at Infinity Enterprise Group, and we're joined with Erica Ruziska. She is president of RentFax. Right before break, we've been talking a little bit about what RentFax does, and I had a thought. Erica, you'd mentioned that the primary user is an investor.
Mm-hmm.
However, if a real estate agent wanted to use that to pull information on a specific property to provide to their investor client, they could do so. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And actually, there is a score that comes, like I mentioned, with RentFax. It's called the risk score.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is a score from 1 to 100. And it scores that property based on the level of income risk. So if an agent has a client and they're looking at more than one rental property, they can pull the scores on several of those properties and be able to show where the income risk lies the most and where it lies the least and what might be the best investment for that particular.
Well, and they'll know, or hopefully they've discussed with the investor what the investor's goal is, if it's like rent or if it's having somebody, because I think you talked about vacancy and turnover. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if they're looking for a long-term renter type thing, so they have all that information. I think it would just be a great tool that if I was working with an investor or several, I could go back and say, hey, based on your goals, you don't just have to take my word for it. Here's like factual data to back it up.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And an agent can even co-brand the report.
Oh.
Put their logo on the report and be able to present that to a client. And actually, that's almost better than a leave-behind business card.
Yeah.
Because that person is going to keep that report for that specific property, no doubt.
It's going to go in their file,
yeah.
And they're going to remember that every time that they're...
Absolutely.
That's a great tool, I think.
And, for realtors and agents in general, they're looking at how they add value to their clients. And so this is a huge way in which they can do that. With a product that obviously is working, obviously is a good resource, because even as investors, we would use it. And as real estate professionals, we would recommend, the product as well. So for an agent or an investor, I know you give the first 5 free reports. Then what does the membership? Is it a membership or is just a paid?
It's actually 5 free credits, and
Uh-huh.
the credits go towards buying a report.
Okay.
But it is just kind of as a pay-as-you-go report
Okay.
system, and the more credits you buy at one time in bulk, the cheaper they are per
Okay.
credit. So, and you can keep them up to a year, and then buy whatever certain amount of reports you want. We have a lot of different types of reports. We have just the basic risk score.
Okay.
Because some companies, Affinity Enterprise Group, the insurance company, actually uses our score to help them underwrite properties. And really, they look at that score. So maybe somebody just needs a score, while somebody else might want to look at rents or things like that and need a more robust package, which are a little bit more credits than just that score.
Yeah.
So it really just depends.
So I just thought of something. So of course I'm all into niches for agents and things like that. So the property manager or the agent who manages properties, what I could obviously go and create their own business model around using RentFax
Absolutely.
to, of course, identify new investors and other kinds of things in there to really help them manage the projects as well. So I'm thinking there was a time that I would work with some investors, and then I'm thinking I could use this report and say, put their information into that, and then kind of go, no, I don't think I want to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a risky product or a risky property for me, even as a property manager, because I also have liability
Absolutely.
and taking care of those properties that those investors are buying. So more than one use for RentFax. As I'm sitting here and my brain is going.
Her brain is constantly going.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting here and thinking about the agents who are looking at what other products, what other resources can I use. So I think we'll be hearing a lot more about RentFax as we start to put some of the pieces together for the agents who are actually out there listening in and also seeing what's going on.
So the properties that you cover, it's not just local here in Kansas City. It's all over. Is that correct?
It's all over the U.S.
All over the U.S.?
Mm-hmm. and we cover all single-family residential properties.
Cool.
We do a little bit of multifamily, but they're up to 4 units per
Okay.
complex. So when you start looking at a 60-unit complex, for example,
That's not your market.
that's not our market, or a commercial property is not our market. But
Very good.
Yeah, so I think you've got Missouri and Kansas who operate totally differently
yeah,
with the property managers.
Mm-hmm.
So to be a property manager and run a property management company with the state of Missouri, you have to have a license. State of Kansas, you don't have to have a license.
Mm.
So the folks who are on the Kansas side, really, they're not guided or have to have particular CE classes or classes to help them be better property managers because the state doesn't recognize
Requires it.
them.
Mhm.
So here we have a tool for those folks who are there as well,
Gives them some guidance.
who gives them some help in doing that and creating their companies and that kind of thing. Oh, I'm excited. I've already
absolutely.
thought about how we can
She-
talk to.
Tamika's on to
Brain
her
is
next
already
business
gone.
model.
I'm already
Okay.
thinking of all the folks that I know who manage rental properties in Kansas who who are always looking for more education, and that's not kind of what we do.
Okay, well, he's screaming at us
Oh,
over here
okay,
that we need
okay,
to take
okay.
a break. So keep those thoughts. I want to thank everybody for joining us on TV 25's Real Estate Masters. We'll be right back. Thank you.